Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. We're going to jump straight into it guys because there's no other way to do it. We have part 5 of the 3-year investigation by the Bylan Times. Mail Online and The Sun hid serious Dan Wootton claims while attacking Huw Edwards and the BBC. We've already talked about that in a couple of videos beforehand where it wasn't Dan Wootton at the time because someone else was on his show. The amount of stuff they were saying about Huw Edwards is just absolutely unbelievable, and it shows how much of a hypocrite they are. In the 5th part of our 3-year special investigation of the private and professional conduct of Dan Wootton, Bylan Times can reveal how The Sun and Mail Online have been protecting this star celebrity journalist. Mail Online knew of a serious criminal allegation of a nature about his columnist Dan Wootton in May, yet failed to report them to the police and continued to publish his work on 5 occasions, Bylan Times can reveal. Wootton's former employer, The Sun, also failed to report the same detailed allegations to the police despite knowing about him since at least 7th of June, a month before running a controversial front page about a BBC presenter lawfully paying for images. The matter was reported to the publications by a former male adult entertainer who Wootton employed to help him catfish men of interest and secretly record them in their own homes. So it was actually the adult male star who went forward and told The Sun of what was going on. Wow. A further allegation was also made and is known by both newspapers, details of which were unable to report at this time. Right, I wonder what that allegation is. The man told Bylan Times the Mail said they couldn't touch the story as Wootton worked for them. No way. They said it sounded like a very serious criminal matter and said that I should go to the police, which I did. Well, that part there is good, but they should have been like, right, Wootton, you're suspended for a couple of weeks, we need to investigate this. That's what they should have done. Because that is what Wootton and everyone else was screaming about Philip Schofield and past people who had rumours against them. Hell, Wootton even said that regarding Philip Schofield, the ITV boss, whatever her name was, she should do this, get rid of Schofield while these rumours are around, and they should be investigated. He's a hypocrite because he's staying on TV. He's like, oh no, I'm innocent. Everyone must believe my allegations against everyone else, but when they're pointed at me, I'm innocent. I also told The Sun about it and the fact that Wootton had paid one of my colleagues for work from their own accounts by pretending he was a source on the story about Amber Heard. They also told me to report it to the police, so I did that in June. 2 separate occasions. The police have got information regarding it. Neither publication has since reported at all on the 3-year special investigation into the personal and professional conduct of him that Bylan Times started breaking 11 days ago. Yet The Sun did cover Wootton's denials in a 143-word piece on the 20th of July. News UK, its publisher, has since set up an internal inquiry and Mail Online has unofficially paused Wootton's column. However, the failure of publishers Associated Newspapers Limited and News UK to act sooner is attracting strong criticism, which is very, very true. Everyone else was eager to jump on regarding Huw Edwards, regarding Philip Schofield. Every single paper was doing it. With Philip Schofield and with Huw Edwards, did any lawyers get involved there saying you got to silence everyone? No. But Wootton has. I'm going to get lawyers to shut everyone up. Which he said in the past himself, remember now, anyone who brings in lawyers is trying to silence the victim. That's what he was saying regarding Johnny Depp as well, remember. Who in fact, people need to remember as well, because some people in the comments, they seem to have a very, very short memory. Johnny Depp was not convicted of spousal abuse. He wasn't. It was a defamation court case. It was not a criminal act for a court case. There's no conviction against Johnny Depp for that. If there was, it would have been a criminal trial. It wasn't. The fact that Wootton's employers and previous employers knew of allegations against him and did nothing for at least 6 weeks before Bylan Times started reporting means that the public interest here is not just on his alleged actions, but their actions too, as supposedly responsible publishers and employers. Paul Ragg, Professor of Media Law at the University of Leeds, told this newspaper. I was really surprised they didn't seem interested. Today, in the latest part of Boylan's Times Media 2 investigation into the abuse of power in publishing and broadcasting, we can reveal how the ex-adult entertainer first contacted Mail Online on the 29th of May, amid a mounting scandal about the former ITV This Morning presenter Philip Schofield and his lawful relationship with a younger man he worked with. In a subsequent email to Mail Online on the 31st of May, the man, who we are not naming for legal reasons, wrote, "After Philip Schofield, the next one on This Morning who should be investigated is Dan Wootton. The presenter previously worked on the magazine show. I am an ex-star and escort. I have worked for Dan on several occasions. The things he has asked me to do were illegal. He used to ask us to film others without their consent. He also used to pay myself and others to use our Facebook profiles and message who he wanted us to encounter with. How much for a story like this? I have more information on him." Wootton has denied any allegations of criminality. Remember now, they are allegations as well. Even though I don't like Dan, he is innocent until proven guilty. The complainant has since told Boylan Times that his interactions with the now GB News star left him thinking about leaving this earth and living a chaotic life of self-medication and mental trauma. This is what he had. We've just read this out, obviously, but this is the email he sent. Communications with Mail Online continued until this Wednesday, the 26th of July, during which the man says he was told ICWIT could not consider reporting on Wootton because he was an employee of Associated Newspapers. That's BS. They're trying to cover their own backs now. After that, I went to The Sun and told them about Wootton and the Amber Heard stuff, evidence of which they obviously have on their own account system. If he's saying that and they have it, it's over. After lots of calls, they just said it was for the police to deal with, not them. They said there wasn't any evidence, even though I was directly involved. I even told them the name of the accounts person who dealt with it. I was really surprised they didn't seem interested. Well, no, they're not going to do that because they literally want to be like, oh, no, it's not us, it wasn't us, none of us had anything to do with this. It was all him. The Sun are trying to cover their own ass now, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do come out and say, oh, Dan Wootton used this for whatever reasons. He used it against our knowledge and all this kind of stuff. Boylan Times has verified the email and other communications with Mail Online, and can confirm that at least 8 phone calls were made to and from The Sun between 7th of June and the 27th of July about Dan Wootton, who last night was still presenting a primetime show on GB News. The Hugh Edwards parallel. During this period, both Mail Online and The Sun broke stories about Hugh Edwards, who is no longer on air for the BBC and has been receiving help, according to his wife, with serious mental health issues. Yeah, it was everywhere. You just couldn't go onto a news channel without seeing the Hugh Edwards scandal, same as all the newspapers. But even Boylan Times have said that was all done correctly. There was no law breaking. This Dan Wootton story, where the hell is it? We did this the other day regarding why no one, or why isn't anyone doing it regarding Hugh Edwards as well. And it does seem to be that Wootton may have things on other people. If this is what he's accused of in these allegations, it wouldn't surprise me if there's other things that he may have. In a defense of his articles about Edwards, which have been heavily criticised, The Sun wrote in a comment piece on the 13th of July, a desperate couple approached us with firm evidence that he was paying large sums of money to a young person with a spiralling addiction, and that the star had been sent pictures. But police said nothing could be done, and despite a detailed complaint to the BBC, it did nothing either. What do our critics, especially Mr. Edwards' pierced media friends, think we should have done? Told the family to shove off? Turned a blind eye to what appeared to be a clear of power by a household name? Where's all this about Dan Wootton though, isn't it? Mail Online have also been critical of the BBC for posing as the moral conscience of the nations over the Edwards saga. On Wednesday, its columnist Brandon O'Neill wrote, "Their authoritarian urge to elevate certain stories and diminish others rob ordinary people of the right to know what is really happening in this country. There is nothing virtuous about it. On the contrary, there are the despotic antics of people who think they should have the power to control the flow of information itself." For Professor Ragg, Dan Wootton has set himself up as a moral arbiter whose job it is to condemn others for moral flaws, and that means that his own moral flaws are a matter of clear public interest, which they are. This should be looked into by all of them, but they're not doing it. He is a man who has been instrumental in exposing the highly sensitive details of the private lives of many people in public life, including the television presenter Philip Schofield and the musical entertainer Duncan James. He's made a career out of subjecting others to vitriol, but now seems to want the protection of the law as a matter of privacy and defamation now that his own alleged actions are being subjected to scrutiny. He added, during this precise time frame, The Sun was breaking a big story about the BBC News anchor Hugh Edwards, and it seems extraordinary that they would not have taken the opportunity to refer the serious allegations against Mr. Wootton to the police themselves. At the very least, this inaction and a decision by Mail Online to allow Mr. Wootton to continue to publish columns under its name seriously undermines the moral stance it has taken by criticising the BBC's conduct in relation to Hugh Edwards. It also undermines their credibility as a serious news organisation. This is a clear ethical failing that IPSO, the press complaint handlers, should investigate, given that it claims to uphold high editorial standards. Wootton has written 5 columns for Mail Online since the man first contacted them with his allegations. In one column, on the 30th of May, Wootton discussed that Philip Schofield saying, "I would have thought this day and age that a mainstream broadcaster such as ITV ought to be seen to be doing all it can to deal with issues like this, find out where the truth lies, and in the meantime, suspend those who the rumours concern. So, Mr. Wootton, you've said this, get off TV. Or you're just going to stay on there because, literally, do as I say, not do as I do." Wootton also called for the truth, this time, not the saccharine fairy tales Schofield offered up on the sofa to an unsuspecting British public. In a follow-up column on 15th of June, Wootton wrote of ITV's treatment of the Schofield affair. As a result of this cover-up and PR disaster that has followed, many loyal viewers will never trust This Morning or the channel it's broadcast on again. The Byland Times said they have put a series of questions connected to the articles to News UK and the Daily Mail associated newspapers, but have received no response. They're not going to get a response. This newspaper will update this article if it does. A spokesperson for the police, in June 2023, the Metropolitan Police was contacted with regards to allegations of offences committed by a man. Officers are assessing information to establish whether any criminal offence has taken place. There is no police investigation at this time. And just say, but if you have any information, email contact Byland Times confidentially by emailing news@bylandtimes.com. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to take in with this. Daily Mail, The Sun, they all knew what was going on. They have been given all this information and they haven't done anything with it. With the Hugh Edwards situation, they were all over it. It's sad to see because, again, it seems to be all these newspapers that are currently out there, the ones who, for some unknown reason, are not reporting on this. What has Dan Wootton or anyone got on you for not to do it? Why aren't you all covering it? Because, again, if it was someone else, you would jump at it. They literally would. Hell, we've seen it. We have seen that the Daily Mail and the Sun, just these two alone, they hounded Johnny Depp. They hounded Caroline Flack. They hounded Hugh Edwards, Philip Schofield. There is just so many more people that all of these people have been involved with. Dan Wootton, some point or another, because he was always breaking exclusives, which now we probably know how he got exclusives, because he probably had stuff on people. We've even heard of how when he was actually working at The Sun, he would ring up all these contacts that all the other journalists had to get their stories from. You deal with me now, no one else. That's terrible. Seeing all of this and seeing that people have actually gone to these papers and told them before even this was happening, well, before it came out in the open, that is, it just goes to show how corrupted the media really is. We did it at the earlier this week. We had John Cleese. Even he said he needs to be investigated. Otherwise, it does show bias. And this does. I will keep you updated on all this, folks, because we're going to get a lot more, because next week we have... So, Championship Jim, he put out, Hardeep, do we need that missing link to Martin Branning, or is this now a fait accompli and is good to go legal? Watch this space. This is what we got next week. Wooten's ex, Alex Truby, how Murdoch made Dan a monster, and Wooten's secret double life as Martin Branning. The final proof. Next week, it's going to be explosive. It really is, folks. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I will keep you all updated. Let me know what you think of this down below, and I'll see you all soon.